hours. We are also told by several of our sources the vehicle contained a weapon, ammunition, cash, and passports. Now, to our knowledge, no one in that group has been arrested, just detained for questioning. It's also unclear why they were stopped, whether they were being tracked, or if it was a random...
This just gets weirder and weirder and darker. Oh, brother.
Traffic stop. I am told briefings about this incident are ongoing yet tonight, and we will continue to track...
What?
Our Julie Millay tracking updates from police, and she joins us now with what we know this morning. Julie.
Developing situation, John, and certainly one everyone has their eyes on this morning. Police are still looking for Vance Bolter. That's the 57-year-old who authorities say posed as a police officer before killing Democratic former House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband Mark. Police say Bolter also injured Senator John Hoffman, also a Democrat, and his wife Yvette, and at their home about 9 miles away. Now, Bolter is a former appointee under Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. He also served a 4-year stint on the governor's Workforce Development Board. Bolter also served as a director of security patrol for a security company. Police detained and questioned his wife, Jenny Bolter, during a traffic stop yesterday. The vehicle allegedly contained a weapon, ammunition, cash, and passports. Minnesota Governor Tim Walz is calling this a politically targeted shooting and gave an emotional statement yesterday denouncing political violence.
Peaceful discourse is the foundation of our democracy. We don't settle our differences with violence or at gunpoint. In the state of Minnesota, and as recently as last week, in the most closely divided state legislature in the country, we sat down, we worked things out, we debated, we shook hands and compromised, and we served the state of Minnesota together.
Walk his butt out of there. Walk that fella out. Put him in handcuffs. DOJ, FBI, there needs to be a full-blown investigation on stolen valor, tampon, China sweet tea drinking Tim. Unbelievable. I'm telling you, should no one where near be a governor. A disgrace.
Right now, police have not yet offered a motive for the shooting, but say the suspects...
Want to really see something that said, take a look at what happened.
Hey. Why this beat so cold?
We will make America proud again. And you try to we will make America wealthy again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy. What is going on in Minnesota? Yay! Man, this is getting darker and darker. This case just made another huge turn. It is getting crazier, you guys. We have some more huge updates and breaking news on this. But before we get in, I want to tell you guys that I love you. If you're new here, welcome to the show, to the channel. Join the family. Hit that subscribe button. It's one love to the human race. I don't care where you come from, what you look like, what state, what country you're in, what your skin color is, what side you stand on, if you're on this side or in the middle. I don't care. It's one love, man. And we're going to continue to call it out for what it is. We're going to continue to speak truth, common sense, right from wrong, and bring some of the best updates, man. We're living in some crazy, insane, dark times. And quite frankly, we don't know what to expect next. We are rooting for America. We're rooting for the America First agenda. We're rooting for President Trump. Prayers for Trump. Prayers for peace. You know, we hate that this is happening. This entire case and situation. You know, politics is a dirty game, man. And I want to send my prayers, love, and condolences out to this family, man. It doesn't. This should, things like this should never take place, man. This is honestly sad, and these are bad taste in my mouth for what is going on in Minnesota right now, you guys. But we got to get into these breaking news and these updates. And again, I love y'all. Happy Father's Day. Shout out to all our fathers that are tuned in, our parents that are tuned in. I love y'all, man. Keep being amazing leaders and mentors, right from wrong. You know, our grandparents that are tuned in, we love y'all. You know, again, don't take time for granted, y'all. Do not take time for granted. It's gone just like this. But Hope y'all enjoyed y'all day, treated y'all self. You know, today is your day, especially our fathers. You know, I miss my father every single day. A lot of y'all know the story. You know, rest in peace to Rick Sr., my best friend. We did everything together, man. Fished, worked on cars, built cars, sports. I mean, everything, you know. Ricky Sr., you know, that was my best friend, man. I miss him every single day. Do not take time for granted. And I didn't even get to say goodbye. He left and went to work. And my goodbye was cleaning up his blood out of our childhood truck. After he decomposed in our childhood truck for a couple days because we didn't find him until a couple days later, you know. He had a heart attack on the way to work. Y'all take care of yourself, please. Take care of yourself, man. Take care of yourself. I know we're all getting old. We all have this and that. We got to do this and that. Just take care of yourself, man. It's the little things, you know, and be there for your kids. Continue to support them. Be involved, you know. He was 57 years old, man. He called me every single day. Even when we lived in the same household, he called me 3 times a day. 3 times a day. And we lived, sometimes he would call me and I'm upstairs and he's downstairs. That's the kind of connection me and my father had, man. So please take care of yourself, man. Life is just like this, you know, and this is why I spread so much love on this channel. I don't care what your skin color is. I don't care if you did this. I don't care, man. You know, people come in here and call me and threaten me and say all kind of stuff. And it's love at the end of the day. I don't care. I don't got nothing against anybody, man. You know, but we're going to call out this corruption. We're going to call right from wrong. We're going to call out common sense, you know, and we're going to root for America, you know. Simple. Simple, man. I love y'all, family. So happy Father's Day. And let's rock and roll on this. But we got a huge update. So the Minnesota assassin, Vance Bolter's wife, Jenny, has been detained after a traffic stop. With authorities found a weapon, ammo, cash, and passports. Jenny also previously worked for Tim Walz. This story is getting weirder and weirder.
And Tom has
Now, Tim, I'm telling y'all, Tim, they need the DOJ. They need to walk Tim Walz out in handcuffs. Put your hands behind your back. Stolen valor, China, sweet tea, China drinking, tampon Timmy. They booed him off. Veterans booed him off stage because he been a lying dog. He been lying, scamming dog. And we know what y'all doing in Minnesota. And that lady in there, that foreign agent, and bringing in, and we know what's going on. Coming in from the Congo, we know what's going on down there. And that brother lover, she ought to be walked out. Oh God, them Somalians, they ought to walk that lady out now, and she ought to be deported. And they ought to revoke her citizenship. They say, Rick said, don't go too far, sir. But this is crazy, though, man. Let's jump into this.
Reporter Tom Hauser, and Tom has new information from multiple law enforcement sources about Belter's wife being detained today, Tom.
Yeah, I've been working the phones for several hours, as you know, trying to track this down while we were all covering the manhunt here in the Twin Cities this morning. Sources tonight tell me the case was also taking a turn about 90 minutes to the north near Onamia in Mille Lacs County. Multiple law enforcement sources with direct knowledge of what happened tell 5 Eyewitness News there was a traffic stop at a convenience store near Onamia between 10 and 11 a.m. this morning.
Found with weapons, ammo, cash, and passports? Let Rick be riding around with ammo, cash, weapons, and passports. Oh, they gonna put me on the grill like that man. They gonna grill me like a barbecue chicken. They gonna put Rick on the barbecue grill. Let me be found with ammo, cash, and passports and a weapon.
Morning, law enforcement made a traffic stop involving a vehicle carrying several relatives of Vance Belter, including his wife. We have talked to an eyewitness who says about a dozen law enforcement squads converged on the vehicle and remained on the scene for 2 to 3 hours. We are also told by several of our sources the vehicle contained a weapon, ammunition, cash, and passports. Now, to our knowledge, no one in that group has been arrested, just detained for questioning. It's also unclear why they were stopped, whether they were being tracked, or if it was a random traffic stop. I am told briefings about this incident are ongoing yet tonight, and we will continue to track more developments. And again, sources say Vance Belter's wife is among those detained for questioning. And I did have one source very late in the evening, just before the newscast, say that she was being tracked. So this was not a random traffic stop. They had an idea of where she was, and they were able to track her down. Again, we're still gathering more details, and we'll have much more coming up tomorrow.
Tom Hauser reports.
Wow, man. It really hurts that this lady, we seen, you know, this lady break down crying, you know, and now she's got killed in cold blood, you know. After voting with Republicans, she voted no on health care for illegals. And then assassinated in the morning. She knew she'd end up as a target in one form of another. Look at this, y'all. Now we could play the full 2-3 minute video, but I just want y'all to see this is just a small clip.
I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and we worked very hard to try to get a budget deal that wouldn't include that provision.
Like, man, like she knew she would probably be a target. I want to send my prayers, love, and condolence out once again. It just gives me chills, man. This entire thing, you know. Woman, you know, broke down in front of cameras after voting with the Republicans, you know. And then shot and killed. He was a long Democrat who voted to cut healthcare access for adult illegal immigrants. He says, I do what leaders do. I stepped up and got the job done for the people of Minnesota. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Activists, time and time again, are caught with their freaking pants down as they jump the gun, rushing to assign blame, to paint the narrative before all the facts are in, but probably most egregious, to weaponize tragedy before any details even arrive. It's always the same with these people. Something happens, point the finger at MAGA extremism, and then of course look like complete fools as the facts come out and destroy the entire leftist narrative. Well, we got another one of those scenarios here with the latest shooting of 2 Democrat lawmakers in Minnesota. A lot of people on the left were early to jump the gun, calling on right-wingers to come out and condemn the violence. But then it turns out that this wasn't right-wing violence. It was Democrat-on-Democrat violence. They want it to be true so bad.
People out there dehydrated and fell out. You know, the no kings. He wants to be king. Well, guess what? He's your president. Y'all are out there wasting y'all time. I'm sorry, I had to say it, man. And it was a beautiful celebration yesterday for Trump's birthday, as y'all was out there wasting y'all time. And there might be somebody right now watching this video that was one of those ones out there wasting their time. But hey, it's your right, it's your freedom. Go out there and hold up your sign, get tired, fall down. You know, you do what you do. Then seeing that lady, oh, I'm just so scared of everything. Oh, you know, the fake news media got a good hold of her. They grabbed on hold of that lady. She turned on the CNNs, the MSN, ABCs, and just break down crying. Like if he was actually that bad, I promise you guys, if it was actually that bad, if he was actually a dictator on day one, if he was actually Hitler, threat to democracy, he would not be where he is right now. He would not be the 47th president.
That there's this epidemic of right-wing violence, but the best example they've got so far is the Jussie Smollett situation. In other words, they've got nothing, and so they're so desperate to the conclusion, and now here they are with egg on their freaking faces, looking like, what's going on here? We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll in the other suffering horrifying injuries. The first shooting took place at 2 o'clock in the morning, where State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette were shot, but both of them survived. Then around 3:35 a.m., House Speaker Melissa Hortman and her husband were both fatally shot in their home by a man posing as a police officer.
The FBI is offering a $50,000 reward for information leading to the arrest and conviction of 57-year-old Minnesota man Vance Luther Bolter, a suspect in the assassination of a top state lawmaker. That is the chilling footage and photos that we've all seen today of him at her door. Melissa Hortman, a member of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party and a former Speaker of the State House, and her husband Mark, they were shot and killed early this morning. Bolter is also a suspect in an attack on another lawmaker, State Senator John Hoffman and his wife Yvette. They are expected to survive multiple gunshot wounds. Officials released this photo of the suspect taken this morning in Minneapolis, saying they believe he is working to flee the Twin Cities area. Officials believe the attacks were politically motivated. They say he left behind a list of potential targets. According to an official who has seen the list, the targets are prominent pro-choice individuals in Minnesota, including many Democratic lawmakers who have been outspoken about pro-choice policy positions.
And before the ink could even dry, we get posts like this. This one's from Ed Kraenstein. Quote, "Is MAGA going to condemn this violence?"
I'm sick of Ed. Him and his brother. Y'all know them scums on Twitter. I'm sick of both of them. They always got something to say. I'm sick of him and his brother.
This is why you don't open your door for law enforcement or ICE unless you see a warrant and ID. An obvious attempt to blame MAGA, but now here are the facts of the case. Firstly, Melissa Hortman just days earlier had actually voted against giving illegal immigrants free healthcare. In other words, she was a Democrat voting against the absolute woke lunacy that her party is attempting to push, and what obviously followed was the Democrat mob turning on her, and you could tell that she was in kind of a panic state as a target had been painted on her back. She appears visibly anxious in her media appearances. She was practically shaking as she explained the logic behind her position.
I know that people will be hurt by that vote, and we worked very hard to try to get a budget deal.
They always talk, on Twitter, those leftists, left-wingers, a lot of them, how they blame MAGA, conservatives, and then when it all comes out, we're right. Conspiracy theorists are once again take another win, but they always speak without the facts. And then they just blame us, blame MAGA, drag us through the mud. It's a disgrace. And they look completely just stupid and be left speechless.
Oak ranks with the woke radical base, and that, of course, in today's Democrat Party, well, it can be quite dangerous, but it gives us a potential motive here. And then comes the big bombshell. The suspect has been identified as a 57-year-old man named Vance Bolter. The police department then got their hands on his vehicle, and would you look at that? Inside his car, they found a bunch of, quote, "No Kings" protest flyers.
There were some flyers that said "No Kings" within the suspect vehicle. And as we know, the planned events throughout the state of Minnesota today is a No Kings event.
So he had a bunch of flyers in his car that were promoting the left-wing anti-Trump demonstrations happening across the country on that exact day. I'll tell you, it's certainly looking like an ideologically driven act, just not in the way the Democrats are suggesting. But of course, they didn't wait for any of this information. No, they just totally jumped the gun, because that's what these people do. And I know earlier I said this was Democrat on Democrat violence, but mostly that's just in response to to what the Democrats are doing, instantly trying to politicize this. It seems as though they're off the mark, but sitting here, I'm not even willing to definitively say that that's the case. Because again, if we're being truly responsible here, we have to wait for all the facts. But based on what we're seeing so far, it certainly seems that there's a whole lot more evidence suggesting that this individual was a crazed leftist lunatic. We're also now getting reports that he's connected to Tim Walz's office, he and his wife, which I'll most likely cover in a minute. That Vance Bolter's wife, Jenny, also worked for Tim Walz back when he was a congressman in DC. So it seems like we've got a political family here that is directly tied to the Tim Walz orbit. And not just a loose connection over the last couple of years, but no, a close connection spanning over a decade. And of course, the question is, do you think that's a coincidence? I don't know. I tend to think not. This is the second time that Walz has found himself linked to an extremist act. Remember the Tesla vandalism story that we covered from not too long ago?
The Hennepin County Attorney's Office says the man who works for the Department of Human Services still needs to pay up for his actions.
MPD arrested this man here, caught on surveillance video in downtown Minneapolis, vandalizing at least 6 Teslas.
I don't care how much we agree to disagree, or I don't like this or that. I will never stoop this low, this pathetic, sad, just a disgrace. I mean, you know how terrible of a human being you really have to be? Oh, I don't like this. I don't like this I don't like this person. I'm gonna go and mess up somebody's property. Somebody worked hard for this. Somebody, this is somebody else's stuff, and I'm just mad at the guy, his company. So I'm gonna go destroy this person's stuff. What? Y'all. I almost said something that'll probably get this video censored and taken down. So I'm gonna just continue to move forward, man. But these people are, and I'm so glad that we got to see so many mug shots and people held accountable for these actions. You people are deranged. Trump deranged syndrome, Musk deranged syndrome. You people are just you need help. A lot of y'all need help, man. Go get yourself checked out. People, I don't know how people can go this low and just be this bad, terrible of a human. I just don't. I don't get it. There was nothing that would make me. There's nothing that would make me go that low and take that energy, that time out of my day to do that to somebody else's stuff, somebody else's property. There's just nothing that will make me do that. Nothing. I'm sorry.
Causing about $20,000 in damages. The chief said the damage caused in each case was equivalent to a felony.
During all that left-wing anti-Tesla terrorism, when far left-wing radicals took to the streets targeting Tesla charging stations, Tesla dealerships, and vehicles, specifically in the state of Minnesota, well, guess who one of the major perpetrators was connected to? Yup, a staffer working with Tim Walz. We now have multiple acts of political violence and extremism connected to
the foundation of our democracy. We don't settle our differences with violence or at gunpoint. This tragic act here in Minnesota should serve as a reminder to all of us. The democracy and the debates in the halls of Congress, in state houses, in school boards, is a way to settle our differences peacefully.
We must end targeted political violence, Tim Walz lectures us. It's not acceptable. Yeah, now little tampon Timmy boy here wants to present himself, wants to come off as the voice of reason, but the reality is, just 2 days later, he was saying this.
Is bullying okay?
Is bullying okay as teacher?
Is bullying okay, yes or no? Is it okay to bully somebody?
I think
yes
there's
or no?
a time to push back at a bully. So yes, I do think there's a time.
So you think it's okay to bully others?
I think it's okay to bully the bully.
Called out on this because I called Donald Trump a wannabe dictator. It's because he is.
Put this brother in handcuffs. Put this lying, scamming, lying dog in handcuffs. Put this crook in handcuffs. This China sweet tea drinking China tampon stolen valet. He didn't pick up the gun. He didn't have the gun. He lied. And I'm glad they booed him off stage. I'm glad them veterans made me proud. Them veterans make me proud, man. Them veterans make me proud. Because they ought to walk this man out in handcuffs, for real.
It's because he is. The governor's being mean, and the governor's speaking out on that. Well, maybe it's time for us to be a little meaner.
This dingleberry, this dodo bird.
Maybe it's time for us to be a little more fierce. We have to ferociously push back on this. And again, I'll speak to my teacher colleagues in here. The thing that bothers a teacher more than anything is to watch a bully, to watch this bully and to stop it. And when it's a child, you talk to them and you tell them why bullying's wrong. But when it's adult like Donald Trump, you bully the shit him back. You push back.
Tampon Tim wants to talk about bringing down the heat when he's the frickin' gas burner. He's the one who's comparing ICE agents to the Nazi Gestapo.
Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. They're in unmarked vans, wearing masks, being shipped off to foreign torture dungeons. No chance to mount a defense, not even a chance to kiss a loved one goodbye. Just grabbed up by masked agents, shoved into those vans, and disappeared. To be clear, there's no way for us to know whether they were actually criminals or not, because they refused to give them a trial. We're supposed to just take their word for it.
That's the kind of rhetoric coming from this sitting governor who's attempting to brainwash people into seeing federal law enforcement as the enemy of the people. He wants to lecture us about political violence, but back in 2020 during the George Floyd riots, Tim Walz wasn't condemning the violence. And just recently with this wave of Tesla terrorism, again, not only was he connected to one of the individuals committing those acts, but he was freaking celebrating it on stage.
Saying on my phone, I don't know, some of you know this on the iPhone, they've got that little stock app. I added Tesla to it to give me a little boost during the day. 225 and dropping. So
he didn't open up his portfolio and see what backs his state. Tesla backs his state. The stocks back. It backs his state. This I'm telling y'all, man. But these are the people that are in power. People that are governors. People that are elected. It's just a disgrace, man. They ought to just walk him out. Oh, I can fix a truck. You know. I can win back the vote for men. I can win back to I can also relate back to white men. The white men vote. I tell you, man, it's just you just can't make this up, man. You just can't. No.
I'm a victim impression every single night on CNN, talking about how the president was inciting violence against journalists. But it was never true, and the horrible hypocrisy of it all is that as the Democrat institutions pointed the finger at Donald Trump, accusing him of incitement, they themselves were the ones actually inciting violence. Their rhetoric led to 2 assassination attempts of President Trump, massive countrywide riots, a plethora of assaults and attacks on right-wingers, and now more assassinations and mass shootings and mass casualty events than I could even count off the top of my head. There is a problem with political extremism and radicalism. There is an issue of inciting violence in the political sphere, and it's clearly happening on the left. And I'd say very quickly, Tim Walz is becoming the face of it. Anyways, that's pretty.
Hey, what do y'all think, man? Keep it real with me in the comment section. Again, happy Father's Day. I love you guys, man. And we're going to continue to bring you updates on this. As like I told you, I promise that we will continue to be one of those ones that always brings the best updates and put this whole thing together, man. And we'll see how everything plays out. Prayers for America. We do not know what to expect next. Send our prayers down to Minnesota. I mean, it's just, they ought to walk him out. I'm ready for that breaking headline that he's being completely investigated. You know, we about had enough of him. You know, it just gets, like I said, after this election, it's just been getting worse and worse and worse for him, you know, in Minnesota. It's just been getting worse. But I love y'all. I have an amazing rest of y'all day, rest of the weekend. And again, shout out to all my fathers out there. And I will catch y'all in the next one. Peace and love, family.